Hello and welcome back to the Biochemistry for Health Sciences channel. In today's video, we shall talk about wax esters. Just to recap, in the past few videos, we talked about the various types of lipids, such as triglycerides, which are mainly used for fuel, amphiphilic lipids, which is the reason why membranes are formed, and amphiphilic lipids or surfactants are also important in the lungs to reduce surface tension. Then we talked about steroids, the role of cholesterol to regulate membrane fluidity, and then the steroid hormones, which work as signals for cell signaling. And then we had a video on icosanoids, which are lipids which work as cell signals. So today we'll look at wax esters. So what is a wax ester? A wax ester. So basically a wax ester is formed from a long chain fatty acid. So here's the long chain and then the acid, and a long chain fatty alcohol. So here's a long chain and then here's the alcohol. So as you know from organic chemistry, carboxylic acids and alcohols react to form esters. So basically what we have here is a very long carbon-hydrogen chain. Okay, very long carbon-hydrogen chain. That's a wax ester. Wax esters are found in various secretions in the human body. Let's look at three examples. In the tears, the tear film, wax esters are part of the meibum. Tear film also has water with various chemicals dissolved in water, as well as various mucous proteins, the mucous layer. So tears is a combination of many different substances, one of which is wax esters. Then wax esters are also found in the secretion from the skin called sebum, which is secreted by the sebaceous gland. And of course the skin has sweat glands that secrete sweat, which is water-based. Okay, so basically sebum and sweat mixes together and you have a combination of lipids and aqueous medium on the skin surface. And then the ears, the ear canal, glands called ceruminous glands, as well as sebaceous glands in the ear canal secrete earwax or cerumen. So wax esters are found as mixtures in various secretions. If you look at the lipid part of these secretions, such as meibum, sebum, or cerumen, you will see that wax ester is one component of these secretions, but there are many other components, other lipids such as cholesterol esters, triglycerides, fatty acids, squalene. Squalene is a cholesterol synthesis intermediate. And then we have antioxidants such as vitamin E, ceramides, Okay, so we have a lot of different lipids besides wax esters. Cerumen is the earwax. Good to know that earwax is of two types. The dry earwax has less lipids, while the wet earwax is richer in lipids, about 50% lipids, and the rest is cells and proteins such as keratin. So clearly wax esters are a component of complex mixtures that we find in secretions. So what are the functions of wax esters? Well, we cannot say the exact function because these are found as components of various secretions, but these secretions are known to have certain functions. So let's look at lubrication, for example. Lubricants or lubes, these are liquids, substances that reduce friction between surfaces. So when you have two surfaces moving across one another, if you look closely at these surfaces, there are ridges and valleys, and they will hit one another when they move, and they will cause a lot of friction. And this friction would be very bad for these surfaces. They will damage these surfaces. But when you have a lubricant, the lubricant, which is sort of a liquid-like viscous liquid, will coat these surfaces and prevent the two surfaces from rubbing against one another and therefore damaging them. So lubricants tend to prevent the damage to these surfaces. So we do see that, for example, in blinking, we see the eyelids rubbing against the cornea, and then on the skin, you can see the skin could be rubbing against other skin or against other surfaces. So lubrication is a important function of these secretions. So wax esters probably contribute to the lubrication property of these secretions. They make the secretions more viscous so that it behaves as a good lubricant and can bear the weight of the surface that is hitting the lubricant. The wax esters probably also increases the boiling point and decreases the freezing point of the secretion so that the secretions can withstand cold and hot temperatures. You don't want them to solidify. The lubricant should not solidify in cold temperatures or should not evaporate, become too liquid in warm temperatures. So wax esters would probably contribute to the ability of these secretions to withstand temperature differences. These secretions are also exposed to oxygen all the time. Your skin is also exposed, for example, to oxygen. So clearly oxygen can lead to oxidation of different components on the skin or the cornea. And so the wax esters do provide a more hydrophobic medium to these secretions so that we can dissolve hydrophobic chemicals or antioxidants such as vitamin E. Of course, the aqueous part of the secretions may contain antioxidants that are water soluble. For example, vitamin C or ascorbic acid and glutathione. Glutathione is a very important antioxidant that we find mostly in cells, but a little bit outside the cells too, such as these secretions. So besides lubrication, the wax esters will also help these secretions to prevent water loss, because these wax esters are very long chain, very hydrophobic, and they also have a density less than 1, so they will float above the water layer. So because of the hydrophobic nature, they will prevent loss of water, that's water loss, and also they will make the surface waterproof, so prevent water from entering into the surface. In case of skin, we know that the skin regulates body temperature by the process of sweating. So when sweat or water is above the skin, the evaporation of this water cools down the body, and the amount of this sebum containing wax esters can be regulated so that we can regulate the rate of evaporation of this water from the skin surface, and therefore regulate body temperature. So wax esters indirectly contribute to the properties of the secretions of the skin, such as sebum and sweat. The secretions are also known to be protective. So the wax esters, by increasing the viscosity of these secretions, tend to make the secretions more viscous, and that are better solutions that will trap microbes or debris, and then these secretions can be washed away, getting rid of the microbes or the debris. The wax esters will also make these secretions more viscous, and that viscosity will slow down the entry of microorganisms into the body from the skin surfaces or from the body surfaces. And this viscosity will also tend to concentrate antimicrobial chemicals that are present in these secretions. So there are a lot of antimicrobial chemicals such as peptides and proteins and other chemicals present in secretions such as tears and in sweat and sebum, as well as in cerumen. The wax esters also give the secretion a more hydrophobic nature, so that the secretions could have non-polar or hydrophobic antioxidants such as vitamin E dissolved in it, that will help the surface, that will protect the surface from oxygen and other free radicals. In case of earwax, the long chain wax esters, hydrophobic wax esters, help in the formation of earwax. And because these are very hydrophobic, they prevent water, as well as because of their physical barrier, they prevent foreign objects from entering the ear canal. So to summarize, wax esters are an important component of secretions such as tears, skin secretions, as well as earwax, and help these secretions to carry out activities such as lubrication, prevent water loss from the surface of the skin, waterproof the surface, as well as help in temperature control. And the wax esters present in the secretions help protect these surfaces from microbes, as well as oxygen and other debris. So this is a brief overview of the nature of wax esters in our body and their functions. Hopefully we will see you in the next video. Until then, goodbye.